Martial law. Many civilians, especially preppers, are worried that it will be enacted at some point, and it appears we're edging closer to it. But what does this mean for the average citizen? Understanding how it can transform daily life and governance is essential. Hi, it's the Urban Lady Prepper. I help single moms and solo women with practical emergency preparedness. But of course, all are welcome to be better prepared for whatever happens next. You may have been hearing martial law chatter more than ever. This episode will provide a clear and accessible explanation of martial law and encourage you to stay informed. Martial law can significantly alter the government and personal freedoms during emergencies. But what exactly is it? Martial law is a government tool intended to maintain control during emergencies. It's often declared in response to significant events like natural disasters or civil unrest. Under martial law, the military assumes control and civil liberties may be suspended. This is not the same as when the military is called to assist after a natural disaster or support local law enforcement during a civil episode expected to be contained. While curfews may be imposed and military personnel are there to enforce order during those situations, civil authority remains. With martial law, military authority replaces civil authority, limiting personal freedoms such as freedom of speech, press, and perhaps confiscating items that may become illegal to own, such as legally purchased firearms. Businesses and homes can be raided or taken over. Civilians can be jailed without cause and, instead of going to court, will be tried by a military tribunal. Martial law isn't invoked lightly. It's supposed to be a response to extraordinary circumstances. It's seen as a measure of last resort, highlighting the balance between security and civil liberties. This is why it's crucial to understand martial law, what it entails, and what it means for you. Martial law has been used globally for centuries when military leaders needed to restore order or quickly control a population, such as during wars or civil unrest when standard law enforcement mechanisms failed. It's often associated with pivotal moments, like when Ferdinand Marcos declared it in the Philippines in 1972, which lasted almost 10 years, and after the attack on Pearl Harbor in the United States. The U.S. Constitution does not specifically define martial law, but Article 1, Section 9 states, "The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it." Put simply, habeas corpus prevents illegal detainment. With constraints, the President and the U.S. Congress both can impose martial law since each can be in charge of the militia. It's important to note that a state's governor can impose martial law within its borders. Individual states have declared martial law far more often than the federal government for suppressing riots, breaking labor strikes, and after natural disasters such as the 1900 Galveston hurricane. Contrary to some reports, it was not declared after Hurricane Katrina. There is concern about the current political climate, and the president will try to invoke martial law. The president technically can't invoke martial law without Congress, but he has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, which he does not require Congress to impose. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is a federal law that empowers the president to deploy the U.S. military and federalized National Guard troops within the United States. It's intended for circumstances such as suppressing civil disorder, insurrection, or rebellion, and it also has been used to break labor strikes, but there's currently no basis to do this. Some feel that he and his cabinet are making specific executive orders and other changes in rules to incite people to protest and give him an excuse to move from the Insurrection Act to martial law. There is a leap from one to the other, but considering his disregard for the rule of law and decisions made by judges, there's no guarantee that he won't try to find a workaround. He also removed the federal requirement for desegregation, for which the Insurrection Act has also been used, and seems to be doing all he can to provoke conflict. While there have been some protests and contentious town halls, there are many, such as myself, who believe he wants Black folks, in particular, to protest so he can begin that escalation of violence. But we're not taking the bait. It's important to understand that during martial law, the military will not know or care about who or what you are and who you voted for. All must comply. Restricted movements, changes to judicial processes, and heightened government control have profound implications for society. When martial law is in effect, it extends beyond military presence. Curfews can disrupt daily life. Military tribunals might replace civilian courts, with legal protections diminished under military justice systems. Media censorship makes it possible to maintain the order desired. It can also impact businesses, potentially disrupting operations and economic activities. Civil rights for all during martial law can be significantly challenged. Customary rights like freedom of speech will be limited to prevent unrest. The right to assembly will be restricted to control gatherings. These restrictions aim to stabilize or control the situation, but can lead to debates over the balance between security and freedom. Once the situation normalizes, its effects on civil rights require vigilance and advocacy to restore them promptly. These changes can lead to uncertainty among citizens, affecting everyday activities and morale. Awareness of these effects is crucial for being prepared and resilient during such times. Staying informed is critical during potential martial law. It helps you react promptly, make informed decisions, and ensure you know any restrictions and can plan accordingly. Attention to official channels and news is vital to stay updated with announcements such as curfews, travel restrictions, and other regulations. They provide real-time updates on changes and developments. Follow government websites for reliable information. Follow local news, as specifics of martial law can vary depending on the circumstances and the jurisdiction. Engage with community forums to understand local impacts. Relying on diverse news sources ensures a well-rounded understanding of the situation. Different perspectives can highlight various aspects of martial law's implementation, and international news offers an outside view. Independent media provide an in-depth analysis, and social media can offer immediate updates, but requires verification. As always, and especially during martial law, it's crucial to distinguish between official information and rumors. Diversifying your news sources gives you a comprehensive view, reducing the risk of misinformation. This approach empowers you to understand the broader implications and prepare effectively. If you have prepared and have a stockpile of food, water, and medication, you'll be in a better and safer position, as you'll be spending limited time outside. Remember that martial law is a very serious event that can drastically alter citizens' everyday lives. There may or may not be actual chaos in the streets, so it's important to know what to do should martial law be called. Firstly, you must stay aware. Martial law is not a uniform concept. Its implementation and the specific regulations imposed can vary significantly depending on the jurisdiction, the reasons for its declaration, and the authorities enforcing it. It can be a fluid situation, and things may change rapidly. Nothing is worth losing your life or freedom, so remain aware of changes. Ensure you can reliably receive updates if curfew hours or other restrictions change in your area. Emotions will be high. You must be alert and use your situational awareness skills. If you need a refresher on that, I have an article in my blog that I'll point to in the description. Weapon possession rules vary, ranging from limitations to confiscation. Knowing what rules are being applied in your area is extremely important. Prioritize your safety. Stay indoors whenever possible, especially during curfew hours. Don't call attention to your home, especially if there's a lot of chaos and a strong military and law enforcement presence. You do not want your home to be a magnet for desperate or dangerous people, or risk having cops or soldiers pounding on your door. If you're outside, remain calm and avoid actions that could be perceived as threatening. If you believe your citizenship might be challenged, carry a notarized copy of your passport or birth certificate. Yes, I hate to say that. Comply with authorities and follow the instructions of military and law enforcement personnel. Noncompliance can result in severe consequences. Expect that martial law will bring out the worst in everyone, including the authorities. If there's widespread rioting or chaos, do not go outside unless it's an absolute medical emergency. You want your home to look nondescript or unoccupied. Keep noise to a minimum. If you can't use firearms, make sure you have other items you can use for defense. Keep your doors and windows locked. Have your doors braced. If you have time, board your windows facing areas of conflict, heavy traffic, or a lower level that can be easily breached. For tips, read my 2 articles, Lock Down Your Lair, Practical Home Securities, Parts 1 and 2. If people are desperate and looking for food and water, avoid cooking with heat as much as possible unless you can contain the smoke and aromas. If hungry people can smell it, you'll have a problem. Don't put out too much trash. If you can, don't put out any. If you're trying to make the house look unoccupied or that you have very little, a large pile of garbage shows people and stuff. You don't want to attract scavengers either. If enough chatter about martial law being enacted makes you want to evacuate to a safer location, ideally your bug-out location, make that decision as soon as possible. Trust your gut. If you have preps you need to have at your destination, make that extra trip with what you can early. This way, when you bug out for real, you won't have all of this stuff and people in your vehicle that may attract the wrong kind of attention. Avoid the usual routes as they may be clogged. While it's disheartening to think your rights will be diminished, even under martial law, some legal protections may still exist. Seek legal counsel to understand how your rights may or may not be infringed, and as soon as possible if you believe your rights have been violated. Document any interactions with authorities. If possible, keep records of events, particularly interaction with military or law enforcement personnel. If martial law is enacted, it will be a very dark time. Of course, no one wants this. But with events becoming more extreme and unpredictable, being prepared and having a plan will help you get through it safely and without undue suffering. If you've just started your prepping journey, visit my website, urbanladyprepper.com, and review the articles and information, beginning with Prepping 101 up to choosing a bug-out location, which happens to be next week's episode. You can always reach out to me with any questions. Thanks for listening. Stay alert and be safe out there. Until next time, this is the Urban Lady Prepper signing off. I'm sure I've given you some things to think about as you go through the upcoming week. Has this episode resonated with you? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to click the link in the podcast description to get your free Essential Prepper checklist. While there, get one of my cool designs on a shirt, hat, mug, and more at my Redbubble store. Or you can always buy me a coffee or get a Jace case for your emergency medical needs. It helps support what I do, and I really appreciate it. Join me on the socials, especially on YouTube, where I'll be uploading videos for my blogs from urbanladyprepper.com. I appreciate your time with me. Stay safe, stay sharp, and be ready.